What's going on, Imperials? Emperor Cubone here. We've listed forgettable moves from each type, but some types have the distinction of having multiple moves that make you scratch your head and wonder, how long has this even been in the game? So here are even more of the most forgotten moves in Pokemon. First of all, apparently there's a psychic type move out there called Amnesia. This move sharply raises special defense of the Pokemon, which is pretty useful, but I guess most people prefer to raise their special attack at the same time, opting for Calm Mind instead. It can be learned by so many though, so don't be surprised if you see it sometime. Next, I want to talk about a new fire move called Burn Up. It's a base 130 power move with 100 accuracy, letting you pack a huge punch. But as the name implies, it's such a heavy hit that the user burns itself out, and no longer becomes a fire type. What? How can you lose a type? Not many can learn this move, and it's said that if the user is pure fire, which most of them are, then it's without a type. I'm not even sure how that works. Are we back to the 3 question mark type that Curse used to be? I guess you would lose stab on any other attacks. Could you even use Burn Up again after that? Probably not. What happens if you switch out? There's just so many questions that I don't see getting answered because this move is so rarely seen. I talked about Rage Powder for Bug before, but drop the Rage and you have the next move, because there's one that's just called Powder. They already had it for Poison, Sleep, and even Snow varieties, so I guess they just went with the original. This move damages the target 1/4 portion of their health if they use a Fire-type move on the same turn. That's somewhat of a risky gamble since any trainer worth their salt will be packing coverage moves. And besides, this move is exclusively available on Vivillon, who you probably won't be letting fight many fire types anyway. Out of the huge pool of normal moves, it's no surprise I found another one that I've never heard of. Laser Focus is a move that has the user concentrate so that the next move is a guaranteed crit. This is far more useful than Focus Energy, which just has an increased chance of getting a crit, but is it really more useful than just attacking twice? The reason I've never heard of it before is because it can only be learned by these legendaries in Lucario for some reason. It's quite strange, and honestly, I doubt I'll ever get to see the in-game animation, because no one's going to be running this. There are many poison moves out there that sound pretty much the same, but one called Venom Drench caught my eye. This move lowers attack, special attack, and speed of the target. Wow, that is incredible! Oh, wait, there's a footnote here. This attack only works if the target is poisoned? Oh man. So now I have to have another status move just to set up my status move? Or I could just rely on the small percentage of poison chances from the damaging moves, but you know what? No. There's a reason this move doesn't get seen. It can do some good things, but you won't find too many chances to abuse that much setup. For Psychic, there's a move called Amnesia. This raises special defense, but it was even better back in the first generation. In the original games, there was simply the special stat, which stood for both the attack and defense. This of course made monsters like Alakazam hit hard, but also incredibly tanky. They've since changed this oversight by splitting the two, and in doing so they decided to put Amnesia's boost on the defense side, which is probably why it's not seen as much anymore. Parabolic Charge is a decent electric move. It attacks everything in the area, like Discharge, but then restores the user's health by half as if you would just use Giga Drain at the same time. That is not half bad. They introduced it in Gen 6 and gave it to literally every new electric type in Kalos, and then that's it. Nobody else can even learn it, not even legendaries. It's not a TM. It's not a particularly hard-hitting move, but it could really help some people out in the main story if it saw a little bit wider circulation. I received a blast from the past when I came across the move Grass Whistle, because I completely forgot it existed. This is a grass-type move that puts opponents to sleep. Except, we already had that. It's called Sleep Powder. But even worse, Grass Whistle has the same PP, but even worse accuracy than Sleep Powder. And if you've ever tried to use that, you know how bad that already is. I don't mind adding more ways to inflict status, but the least they could do is give it to a type that doesn't already have one, instead of repeating themselves. There's a steel move that I'm not overly familiar with called Metal Burst. I've seen it used before and thought, Metal Burst, it's a Steel-type move, yeah. And then wonder how in the world that Pokemon's move was so strong. Well, apparently, the move is like a Steel-type version of Counter, and does back extra damage to you. It's not quite as powerful as Counter, with it only being 150 instead of a 200% increase, but it can still be useful, especially if used by one of the numerous Steel types with the Sturdy ability. This may not be as forgettable as some, but Mirror Move is a flying type attack that I constantly forget exists. The user mirrors the last move used by the opponent. Well, I say move, but it only works on the actual attacking moves. Anything else will fail. It saw more use in the first generation, but I was always confused on why this was a flying move. How can a bird do anything that the foe can, including punch moves or fang moves? To me, this move always sounded like it should have been a psychic type, especially with all the emphasis Psychic has on mirrors and reflections. And speaking of Psychic, it looks like there's a move out there called Amnesia. It's said that the user clears their mind of concerns and raises its special defense. I wonder why I've never heard of it. So, those are some more of the most forgotten moves in Pokemon. Which moves do you still forget about? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!